All right, so back to where we were. The election of President Obama having a direct impact on your life or not?
Let's say no. Let's say yes in the we are the world community sense, but not so much in the personal sense.
All right. And then the next question is, what impact do you think the election of President Obama will have on urban areas in the United States, particularly on housing?
I don't know that he's clearly identified that as a priority. I mean, I'm certain that some people argue that he has, but to the common person with exposure to the common channels of information that we receive, I don't know that he's made it clear that that's a priority of his.
Okay.
And I think that that's one of the disappointing aspects of the way that this administration has approached the public is that priorities have never been made abundantly clear.
Yeah.
And most often, whenever there's any type of media attention upon his clarifying his positions, it's usually long after the fact when it's already become mired in so much lack of understanding that it requires qualification for people to even proceed with making an opinion. So, for instance, this issue of the healthcare problem being completely derailed has everything to do with terminology, everything to do with language and the way you perceive language. And beyond that, I don't think there's any solid information out there for the average American to make an informed decision. You know, I frequently hear about people who get all of their political information from chain letters.
Yeah.
And most frequently it references this kind of amorphous bill that everybody claims is already out there.
Yeah.
Well, there's the Baucus bill, okay? There are all of these collaborative bills, but then there are other little submissions that people have written, and they can be as batshit crazy as they want to be. But there is no solid bill that people are necessarily voting on. There have been a lot of proposals, a lot of things have been rescinded, but what actual tangible document are we looking at?
Yeah.
Nobody knows, and it changes with every day.
Yeah, and it changes with what pundit is talking about at that particular day.
Oh, I'm absolutely played out on punditry. I have no use for them. You know, I will acknowledge that from time to time I find Bill Maher to be entertaining, but only because I think he's matured as a moderator in recent years, because he used to just be a partisan hack too. And when it comes down to it, when you see a guy who's driving an expensive car, enjoys the adulation of millions of Americans, and gets to do his little, tongue-in-cheek, I'm so clever diatribe on the status of the political arena in the United States, that guy's still going home to a nice condo or a nice apartment in Manhattan. That guy has no perception. I mean, look, I don't want to trash talk him because I do love him, but that is the fundamental disagreement between the elite identifying themselves as the elite and saying, yeah, I'm going to help you fight back against me. You know, I'm unmoved by that.
Yeah. Someone drops the word death panel and then everybody goes crazy.
Well, I will credit him, not to make this a tangent about Bill Maher. I will credit the guy though, because very frequently in recent broadcasts, you'll hear some popular leftist figure make a remark. The audience will enjoy it and they'll cheer uproariously, and then they'll turn around and say, you don't need to cheer every time a liberal says something, because there are plenty of channels for liberals to express themselves. That's, again, as I referenced earlier, my major disappointment is that this is an opportunity for what unfortunately might be the swan song of the American public's respect for the Democrats, because, you know, and I hate to reference Maher again, as he's often said, if they had a little bit of the balls of the Republican Party, they could accomplish a lot more.
Yeah.
You know, the willingness to be, as Bush was, a guy who says, I don't really give a shit. This is my trajectory. This is what we're staying on. You're going to come along with us, and if you don't like us, vote us out of office. Okay, but nobody has the balls to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And, you know, ultimately, not to be a terrible cynic on the whole issue, but it's the same group of cronies. From administration to administration, they just pass around the same losers with the same interests, with the same connections to corporate criminals. You know, one of the examples that's gotten me fired up recently is Monsanto Chemical Corporation, which has been discussed in a number of documentaries, whatever, Food Incorporated being one of them. It is so feasible, it's terrifyingly feasible that these people can take former board of directors members, former executives, and install them in positions of authority in the USDA, the FDA. It's a direct link. You know, it's no coincidence that, for instance, during the Bush administration, Colin Powell's son found his way to the head of the FCC. Well, you're not going to tell me that two men from the same family were equally talented and just through happenstance wound up in positions like that. You know, I despise cronyism, I despise nepotism, and I think it's what's ruining our structure.
I get it out. I tried a couple of weeks ago.
And then the last one that I have on my list is, if you could say something to President Obama, what would you say or ask?
I don't know that I'd have anything to say or ask because I don't feel that my voice is a contributory.
Obviously,
I don't think it's.
controller.
I don't think it would motivate him to do anything of any significance. I mean, the pieces are set on the board. The moves are already prepared to be made. I don't have any effect on it. I really don't. And furthermore, I've taken a lot of flack in recent years for opposing participation in the vote. People say, "Oh, that's absurd." Well, you know, there's a million donuts at Dunkin' Donuts for you to choose from. There's two parties. Okay, this system is rigged. There are owners. You stay in your place, or you're going to be knocked on the side of the head.
The electrics, the wires are all they guarantee. The controllers.
I don't know that I have anything in particular to say to the guy.
Yeah.
You know, good luck.
Send the whole thing.
You know this system better than I
Call me
do.
up
Try to
and
enjoy
say,
something out of it.
Girl says,
Otherwise,
listen.
what? What am I going to say to that guy?
Yeah.
What am I going to say?
She says,
He's
"Yeah, this
the
is really
liberal
old."
messiah.
And
Yeah, that was definitely the vibe I got during election season.
Well, look, it's a hot button issue, and of course no one wants to offend anyone's tender sensibilities. But the fact of the matter is that to a certain extent, the American public is manipulated. It's just like a jury selection process. They knew that this was going to be a very divisive election. They knew that it was going to be a public referendum against a conservative figure. And they knew that it was largely going to be the end of the resurgence of the conservative revolution. So it was in their best interest. I don't blame them. I would do it too. Michael Steele needs to take some cues from this show. They knew that identity politics would be the most divisive issue. They knew that they would be able to generate the most excitement through exploiting identity politics. So, you know, the fact that he is a black president has limited impact upon me. I consider him just like any other qualified candidate. If he's the guy to do the job, he's the guy to do the job. But, it was all a very calculated move.
Right.
I mean, there's more thought that goes into those things than the average person wants to acknowledge. And like I said, the lessons that we've learned from Madison Avenue, the lessons that we've learned from the practice of shadow government, have been very effective in selecting the type of leadership we want to see to carry us into what will certainly be our abject failure compared to burgeoning nations like China. I mean, I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting to be number two. I think we already are. We just don't want to admit it. That's it.
I think that's an interesting note to end on. So yeah.